Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Willardsen, and today we're going to go over some scenarios of situations that that people should look out for and be aware of. So this is a patient who we saw here in our practice who came from another office, and you can see these implants here and how thin and narrow they are. So these, and you may have heard the term mini implants. And a mini implant, back when I was a resident, a mini implant was considered what we call a provisional implant or a temporary implant. We would use them in situations where, and this was before the days of immediate loading or teeth in a day, we would use them to put in around implants knowing that we're going to take these implants out. But there are doctors and practices out there that are using these implants as a permanent solution. But in reality, it really creates one, you might save a little bit of money, but the headaches in long term is just not worth it. One, because they can fracture. They're only about 2 millimeters, maybe 2.5 millimeters in diameter. And you'll notice on this x-ray how they just try to put in as many implants as they can, knowing that there's this kind of a high failure rate for these implants, for the mini implants. And so, just to be aware, if you're going to go through the process, it's not as just an investment in money, of course it is, but the time that it takes to do a quality job, there's an investment there as well. Not to mention the fact that once you go through this process, you don't want to go through it again. And so ensuring that your doctor is using proper materials, has proper training, proper surgical technique, and proper prosthetic technique to ensure that once it's done for life. And that's what we do here at Trust Implants. I would never consider using this system or these implants on anybody for that matter, unless I were to use it as a temporary, knowing that they're coming out. But even that, I don't use mini implants at all. The other situation you'll see at some of these big box dental implant centers, would be using mini implants to attach a denture or a removable situation. And even there's so much force placed on these tiny little screws that ultimately they do break. And also the parts and pieces as the denture comes on and off wear out really quickly. So, I always go back when I see a new patient, especially one who's come from another office, I try to help them understand that, this is an investment, both in money and time and long-term relationship. Once a patient comes to us, it's a long-term relationship because these cases that I do will last the rest of their life. We use, the techniques that I use, the materials that I use, and the prosthetics that I use, I build the case so that it will not fail. And so a case like this, though, we ended up taking out all of these implants and putting in regular implants. So all of that time, effort, and money was lost in this case for this patient because we had to redo everything. And so just a little bit of, kind of beware and gain some information, some knowledge, educate yourself on, what type of implant the doctor is using. Where did it come from? Is it a knockoff implant? Is it a mini implant? Because in reality, it's hard for a patient to know what they're getting. And so just a little bit of FYI right there. So take a look at this x-ray and notice there are not only a lot of implants, but they're kind of all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason. For example, here we've got 3 implants really close to each other, and then on this side they're spread apart. There's angulation issues. So there's just no rhyme or reason to this surgical technique used here. And so, and that's not anything the patient can control. That's up to the doctor who's placing the implants. These mini implants are also one piece, so there's no way to remove parts and pieces. For example, when we have a regular implant, I can attach the different parts and pieces. The fit here between the parts and pieces that fit into the implant are so precise. They are incredibly tight. The tolerances and how they're machined are very, very tight, and the fit is very solid. So, and you just don't get that with the implants that are not of very high quality. And so, and with the mini implants, they're one piece, so you can't attach anything to it other than like O-rings and a denture or something that's removable. In this case, they actually cemented some permanent, I guess, porcelain bridges on these mini implants. Long story short, just be aware of the materials that are being used, the techniques that the doctor is using, surgical techniques, and the type of implant that's being placed, and also the prosthetic techniques and materials. So, long story short, there's a lot that goes into these cases. There's no easy way to reconstruct somebody's mouth after they've lost all their teeth. It's a process, and so it's an investment both in time and money. I'm Dr. Willardsen. Visit us at trustimplants.com.